Have you ever walked away from a conversation thinking, they still don't get me? Not who I am, not what I meant, just another person who sees the mask, not the face. Maybe you've spent years trying to explain yourself, justifying your reactions, defending your choices, always feeling like you're speaking a language no one else understands, like you're trapped behind glass, visible but unreachable. Tonight, that changes, because I'm about to give you psychological X-ray vision, the ability to see straight through to someone's core in seconds. But here's the dangerous part. Once you see people this clearly, you can't unsee it. And once you turn this question on yourself, you might discover why you've felt so misunderstood your entire life. Don't write it down yet. First, let me tell you why it works. For over a century, psychologists have been hunting for the perfect diagnostic question. The one query that reveals core personality, attachment style, defense mechanisms, everything that drives human behavior. They've created 1,000-question assessments, hours of interviews, complex evaluations that still miss the mark. But Carl Jung knew better. He understood that everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Hidden in that insight is a question so simple it seems harmless, so profound it reveals what years of therapy might miss. A question that bypasses every defense mechanism and goes straight to the wound that shaped someone's entire personality. I'll reveal this question, but more importantly, I'll teach you to read the 6 types of responses, to see the wound behind the words, the programming beneath the performance. This isn't manipulation, it's recognition. Because once you understand what drives people's deepest patterns, you stop taking things personally. You start seeing the person behind the pain. But be careful. Some people don't want to be seen. Some will punish you for seeing them too clearly. Ready to see behind the mask? Here it is. The question that reveals everything. What's the most common misunderstanding people have about you? 9 words that unlock the architecture of someone's entire personality. 9 words that reveal their wounds, fears, and deepest programming. Why this question is genius. First, it's emotionally safe. You're not asking about their flaws. You're asking about others' misperceptions. The ego stays protected. Second, it assumes empathy. You're implying they're misunderstood, not understood. This creates instant rapport and psychological safety. Third, it reveals multiple layers simultaneously. What they believe about themselves, what they think others see, the gap between their self-image and their projection, their core wound or organizing fear, their primary defense mechanism. Sigmund Freud would have killed for this question, because in one response, people tell you exactly where their psyche is organized. Here's what people don't realize. The misunderstanding they choose to share isn't random. Out of dozens of possible misunderstandings, they select the one that haunts them most, the one they think about at 3 a.m., the one that triggers their deepest defenses, the one that shaped their entire personality structure. They think they're telling you about others' mistakes, They're actually giving you a confession about their core story, about the moment they decided who they had to become to survive. Alfred Adler called this the lifestyle, the unconscious plan each person develops to move from minus to plus, from inferiority to superiority. And it all gets revealed in how they answer this single question. But knowing the question is only half the power. The real skill is reading the response, because there are 6 primary patterns, and each one reveals a different organizing principle of personality, a different strategy for surviving an unsafe world. Master these 6, and you'll understand people better than they understand themselves. You'll see the child's wound beneath the adult's armor, the fear behind the behavior, the need behind the defense. If you're ready to develop this level of psychological insight, make sure you're subscribed, because what I'm about to show you will fundamentally change how you read people. The misunderstood fortress. They say, people think I'm cold, mean, harsh, but I'm actually just honest, direct, protective. What this reveals: this person experienced early betrayal or emotional manipulation. They learned that warmth equals danger. Their honesty is armor. Their directness is a preemptive strike. Here's the deeper truth. They're not cold. They're surviving in silence. Every harsh word is a test. Can you handle my truth? Every direct statement is a prayer. Please don't make me be fake. Carl Jung called this the warrior wound, when vulnerability was punished so severely that strength became the only safe expression. What they need: someone who sees through the armor without trying to remove it. Someone who can match their strength without challenging their walls. The misunderstood caregiver. They say, people think I'm trying to control them or care too much, but I just want to help. What this reveals: this person learned that their value came from their usefulness. Love was transactional. Attention was earned through service, never freely given. Here's the deeper truth. Their helping is control, but not for power, for connection. They give because they never learned how to ask to receive. They care too much because no one cared enough when it mattered. Alfred Adler identified this pattern when he wrote, "The most important question is not, what does life ask of me? But what do I ask of life?" These people stopped asking and started giving because asking felt too dangerous. What they need: permission to be helped, to be valued for their being, not their doing, to receive without having to earn it first. The misunderstood genius. They say, people think I'm arrogant, condescending, showing off, but I'm just passionate about ideas/truth, excellence. What this reveals: intelligence became their first and strongest identity. Their mind became their worth, but somewhere along the way, their gift became their prison. Here's the deeper truth. They're not arrogant. They're isolated. Their intelligence created a chasm between them and others, and they don't know how to bridge it without either dumbing down or showing off. Friedrich Nietzsche understood this isolation when he wrote, "The lonely one offers his hand too quickly to whomever he encounters." Their intellectualism is often desperate social reaching. What they need: intellectual equals who also value emotional connection. Permission to be smart without being alone. Proof that depth doesn't require loneliness. The misunderstood rebel. They say, people think I'm difficult, stubborn, rebellious. But I just have strong principles, boundaries, standards. What this reveals: this person experienced systematic invalidation. Their thoughts, feelings, or autonomy were consistently overruled. Rebellion became their only form of self-preservation. Here's the deeper truth: they're not rebellious for rebellion's sake. They're protecting their right to exist on their own terms. Every no is really a yes to themselves they weren't allowed to say before. James Hillman wrote, "The attempt to make others happy is a way of making oneself miserable." These people learned to say no to others' happiness in order to preserve their own existence. What they need: respect for their autonomy without requiring justification, recognition without demanding conformity, space to choose without pressure to explain. The misunderstood sensitive. They say, people think I'm too emotional, weak, dramatic, but I just feel things deeply. What this reveals: this person's emotional reality was invalidated early and often. They were told they were too much so many times they started believing it. Here's the deeper truth: their sensitivity is their superpower, but they've been trained to see it as their fatal flaw. They apologize for the very thing that makes them magical: their ability to feel what others miss. Carl Jung recognized this when he said, "The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity." Their emotions are data, not drama. What they need: validation that their feelings are information, not inconvenience. That their depth is a gift to be treasured, not a burden to be managed. The misunderstood performer. They say, people think I'm fake, superficial, attention-seeking, but I'm just expressive, social, enthusiastic. What this reveals: this person learned that their authentic self wasn't enough to secure love. They had to be on to be wanted. Performance became survival strategy. Here's the deeper truth: they're not fake. They're terrified of being real and being rejected for it. Their performance is a constant question. Is this enough? Am I lovable now? What about now? Donald Winnicott's concept of the false self was born from studying this exact pattern. When children learn to be what others need rather than who they are. What they need: safe spaces to be boring, permission to disappoint without being abandoned, love for their quiet self, not just their entertaining persona. 6 responses, 6 wounds. 6 different ways people organize their entire personality around a core misunderstanding they experienced about themselves. But here's where it gets profound. The way someone answers this question doesn't just reveal their past. It predicts their future. Their answer shows you exactly how they'll behave in relationships, in conflict, under stress. You thought this would help you read others. But the truth? It shows you where you stopped being yourself. Sometimes people give hybrid answers, which reveals even more complexity. Fortress caregiver. People think I'm harsh, but I'm just trying to protect them. Translation. They mother through military tactics, love through tough lessons, protection through control. Genius plus rebel. People think I'm arrogant about my unconventional ideas. Translation. They were the smartest kid in class and the weirdest. It stopped being safe to speak. Double isolation. Too smart and too different. Sensitive plus performer. People think I'm dramatic, but I'm just expressing my feelings. Translation. They perform their emotions because authentic ones were consistently rejected. Beyond the words, watch how they answer. Immediate response. The wound is fresh, active, currently shaping their daily life. Long pause. They're choosing between multiple wounds, or the real one is too shameful to share. Laughing while answering, using humor as emotional armor. The wound runs deep. Anger in their voice. The misunderstanding is ongoing. They're actively fighting for recognition. Sadness in their eyes. They've given up hope of being truly seen. Relief in sharing. You're the first person to ask. They've been waiting to tell someone. And now comes the dangerous part. Ask yourself the same question. What's the most common misunderstanding people have about me? Your immediate answer? That's your core wound. That's the organizing principle of your entire personality. That's not just your identity. That's your self-made shelter and your silent cage. But here's the trap Viktor Frankl warned about. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. You might be perpetuating the very misunderstanding you hate. The cold person acts colder to protect themselves. The too caring person cares harder to prove their worth. The arrogant person intellectualizes more desperately, seeking connection. You become what you defend against. What they don't say. When someone answers this question, listen for the absence. The fortress says they're honest, but doesn't mention they're terrified. The caregiver says they help, but doesn't mention they're drowning. The genius says they're passionate, but doesn't mention they're isolated. The rebel says they have standards, but doesn't mention they're exhausted. The sensitive says they feel deeply, but doesn't mention they're overwhelmed. The performer says they're expressive, but doesn't mention they're empty. The absence is the answer, the unspoken truth behind the spoken defense. When you know someone's core misunderstanding, you know how to love them. The fortress needs you to see their softness without requiring them to show it. The caregiver needs you to give to them without them asking first. The genius needs you to value their heart as much as their mind. The rebel needs you to respect their no as much as their yes. The sensitive needs you to hold space without trying to fix. The performer needs you to love their quiet as much as their loud. Understanding their wound reveals their trigger. The fortress explodes when they feel manipulated or emotionally cornered. The caregiver melts down when they feel useless or unneeded. The genius shuts down when they feel stupid or intellectually dismissed. The rebel fights when they feel controlled or invalidated. The sensitive floods when they feel judged or minimized. The performer panics when they feel exposed or caught being real. Don't trigger the wound. Speak to the truth underneath. Address the fear, not the defense. Start noticing misunderstandings everywhere. Every argument, a misunderstanding defending itself. Every pattern, a story replaying its wound. Every anxiety, a prophecy disguised as fear. Rollo May wrote, "The opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it is conformity. Most misunderstandings come from conforming to who we think we should be instead of revealing who we are." And if you ask this question, be careful. Some people don't want to be seen this clearly. Some will punish you for witnessing their wound. Some will use your insight against you. But others, the ones worth knowing, will feel relief. Finally, someone who sees past the performance to the person underneath. Everyone you meet is fighting to be understood. Everyone you love is hiding behind a misunderstanding. Everyone you judge is protecting a wound you can't see. But now you can see. Now you have the question. Now you have the key to instant intimacy and profound understanding. Use it wisely, because seeing people this clearly comes with responsibility. You can never again pretend that anyone is simple. You can never again believe that anyone is exactly what they seem. Your assignment, 2 parts. First, in the comments below, answer this. What misunderstanding shaped your personality? Tell the truth you've never said out loud. Be honest. Be specific. Be witnessed. Because naming the misunderstanding is the first step to dissolving it. And you might find others who share your exact wound. Proof that you're not as alone as you thought. Second, ask someone you care about this question, but only if you're ready to really hear their answer. Only if you're prepared to see them more clearly than they've probably ever been seen. If this question has already changed how you see yourself and others, subscribe, because we're just getting started. Carl Jung said it best. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Everyone is misunderstood because everyone is afraid to be fully known. This question doesn't make you a mind reader. It makes you a heart seer. It doesn't give you power over people. It gives you compassion for them. Because once you see how desperately everyone wants to be understood, you can't help but want to understand them. And in a world full of misunderstandings, that's the most revolutionary act of all. The misunderstanding that hurts you most reveals the truth that could heal you. Use this question wisely. Use it with love. And watch how quickly the world becomes a more comprehensible place.